What's going on, guys? Let me just start this video out up front. If you don't have a cup of this yet, better go get some, because we're going to be here a minute. Or just telling you up front, this one's going to be a kind of a long video. Got a lot to say, and to quote a certain character, don't like to say anything unless it's worth taking a long time to say. So, that said, get comfortable. This past weekend, had the pleasure of going up and taking my good friend NC Scout at Brushbeater, taking his Scout class. My youngest son also went with me. Up front, absolutely hands down one of the best classes I've ever done, and I've done a lot of classes. It's easily in the top 4 of my recommended classes for the Army Prepared Citizen. So, a little bit about the class. You're kind of going to cover and touch on a number of topics, a number of points, without getting overly in-depth in any one of them. It will give you some good things to go home and work on your own. You will get into touching on concealment of yourself, your gear, your weapons. As the name of the class would imply, it's a Scout class. So you'll be doing things very similar to what a LRP in Vietnam, or more recently LRS guys would be doing, which is very applicable, you've heard me mention that before, to the Armed Prepared Citizen, in my opinion. You're operating as a small team, without resupply, on your own, etc., etc. You will cover moving through terrain quietly. You will cover some marksmanship principles, things like that. So, starting out, day 1 was our live fire day. We spent on the range shooting. Started out up fairly close, getting everybody's rifles on paper, and then progressively working out, trying to maintain our groups, and for those that needed to be able to adjust their zero a little bit, culminating with the end of the day firing at extended range targets. In this case, we were shooting targets at approximately 490 yards, which I'm pleased to say both my son and I were able to hit. And that gives you a really good feeling, because when you can engage a target that far out, anything within that range you know is in trouble and you can hit, right? That also lets you engage targets outside of their usual effective range, which is another key point. Now, for the class, my son was using his Mossberg MVP. For those of you that don't know, this is a 5.56 bolt action rifle that takes AR mags, and we've got a primary arms ARC 2 scope on it. It was ridiculously accurate. We were using the 68 grain Hornady Frontier OTM loads. Phenomenal ammo. Can't say enough good things about it. And he was drilling holes all day long and hit that 490 with no problem. That is an awesome gun for the money. For us, it keeps compatibility the same with our ammo mags, yada yada. I used, of course, the old poor man's sniper rifle build here. using the Palmetto State Armory 18-inch stainless upper and a Primary Arms R-Grid 2B scope. Again, this gun continues to prove itself of being, as you've heard me mention before, gun, optic, and mount, not counting the bipod, that sort of thing, was under $750. And for under $750, I was able to reliably engage targets as long as I did my part on the marksmanship fundamentals. Again, we hit out to 490, hitting torso steel target. Guys, put your money into the training, right? Put your money into the things that matter. You don't have to have that expensive gun to actually be effective with. These two guns are proof of it. Both of these are well under $1,000, and we can engage people at a pretty doggone decent range accurately. Enough said about the guns. Not what this video is about. All right, so moving on to day 2. Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up because there's an important point here. While we were on the range shooting, it wasn't a nice manicured range. There was some moderately tall grass. It was uneven. There were things poking up through the ground. There was some brush here and there. And you just had to deal with it. And it was all for a reason. It was to get folks used to not having that perfect, flat, manicured range shot. We get so used to shooting on that type of terrain that when we get out in the real world, it ain't like that. 99% of the time, it's not going to be like that, okay? So that was the other key point, that it kind of got folks outside that comfort zone, and it made you have to do things a little differently. So moving on to day 2. Oh, wait a minute. I just remember one more thing. It's a key point. Where we were camped out at, you had to hump everything you needed for the range day out to the range. Your ammo, your gun, water, whatever you were going to need for the day on the range, you had to carry it in your pack. That's a good way of figuring out what you might want and might not want. You know, I don't like the word need that much. I prefer want. So you have to decide how badly you want different things to accomplish different tasks. So that was kind of a good little point that I felt was worth mentioning. Okay, now we'll finally get to day 2. Enough rambling, John. So day 2, we started getting into a little bit of team movement as a team. We worked on some different formations, worked on moving through the woods, moving as a team, trying to move quietly. We worked on camouflage and concealment of, like I said, both yourself, your gear, your gun, etc. Really good day. Towards the end of the day, we did a little bit of force on force using blanks, which was nice because it allowed you to actually get used to engaging a target with your actual weapon. And for some folks, you have to break out of your comfort zone because you're actually pointing your real gun at somebody. Now, let me preface that. It was an extraordinarily safe environment. NC Scout runs a tight ship. Everybody's guns, mags, etc. was checked and double checked. In fact, we weren't even carrying spare magazines or anything else. It was the gun and the magazine in it with the blanks, and that was it. So it was pretty much zero chance of any accidents. Safety was absolutely paramount, okay? So, that said, back to what I was saying, it gets people out of their comfort zone of pointing your gun at somebody, because we constantly drill into our heads the safety rules. Never point a gun at somebody. When if you think about it, the safety rule is really don't ever point it at something you don't intend to destroy. Well, there are human beings that we might intend to destroy, and we have to get used to pointing our gun at them, right? We get used to being so conscious about not muzzling someone that subconsciously it can cause you to hesitate in a real situation when you finally have to point your gun at somebody and actually pull the trigger, because your brain's going to subconsciously, oh, I'm not supposed to point my gun at anybody. It's a thing, okay? So using the blanks allowed you to experience that a little bit, and for those that hadn't ever done it before, you know, it was a good first time experience for them. Overall, we did really good. That part of it was excellent. So then come nighttime, well, excuse me, let me back up. Well, yeah, come nighttime, we did some more camouflage testing, just so everybody can kind of get a look at what different camouflage patterns look like at night versus in the day. And then we looked at those same patterns at night under night vision, see what they look like versus the naked eye in the dark, during the day, etc. So that was kind of some good exposure for folks. Everything culminated in our final event, excuse me, which is what you'll primarily be seeing in a minute. So NC Scout come up with a scenario, and the scenario that we were going to do, force on force using the blanks, was that we were, and I may get part of this wrong, so forgive me, but it was, we were a week into a grid down event. For unknown reasons, there was a complete national power outage. We're a week into it. Things have gone full foobar. We had radio contact from our group and our little camp with someone on the local police department, and we found out that a domestic terrorist group that had been ravaging the area was somehow in possession of some rocket launchers and had attacked the local police station. They were thought to be in our area, so we sent out a scout team to try and locate said individuals. So that was the scenario. So the way we worked it is, there were 3 of us that were the Op 4, the bad guys, and then 3 on the scout team. The Op 4 guys, we went out and got set up, had our pretend rocket launchers, were pretending we were, you know, doing some dry fire practice with our new toys out in this field. The scout team had to work in, stay undetected, locate us. They radioed in that they had found us. Then they were given directions to engage and eliminate us. They fired on us. We returned a little bit of fire. Could never find them. They took us out. Then the team is reversed. We continued the scenario, just the team's reversed. That way everybody got a chance to be on both sides of the coin. So then the scenario changed, well, not really changed, but continued in that more of the bad guys were rumored to be heading that direction to try and recover their rocket launchers and equipment. The first team had already bugged out back to camp. A second team was sent out, which was us as the first Op 4 team. Like I said, we reversed roles. And our job was to, again, work in, find that location undetected, observe it, radio in, and then wait for instructions. We were given the green light to engage the Op 4 that had found that site and was trying to recover the rocket launchers and eliminate them. myself, my son, and one other guy, we were the first OPFOR team and the second scout team, which you'll be seeing in a minute. It was a really good scenario. It really tested everybody's ability. It really made people think. I think everybody in the class really got something out of it. There was a lot to take in and practice. And it allowed you to put all the things that we had went over in class into play. So, that all said, I could ramble on forever, but I'm fixing to show you the video from that. Now, let me preface this because I know there's going to be somebody that says it. We were still using my video camera, which is just a small department store camera without a lot of fancy audio adjustments and all that. It automatically amplifies sounds, okay? We were moving very quietly through the woods. However, you can hear us in a few places for two reasons. Number one, because the camera is amplifying every little microscopic sound. Number two, because it's the real world, and unlike the movies, you can't move 100% perfectly silent like a ghost through the woods, especially not considering the terrain we were in, which was extraordinarily dry with like 2 inches of dead leaves on the ground. It's going to make a certain amount of noise, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. So with that all said, we were moving quietly. The OPFOR never heard us, never saw us, had no clue where we were at when we engaged them, okay? I shouldn't have to caveat all that, but unfortunately I do, so there you go. So, the video that I'm going to lead into here starts out with us on the OPFOR side, right? And then after that, you'll see us get engaged, and then we'll switch. And after we switch teams and reset everything, then everything will be from us stepping off all the way till we got to where we were engaging the OPFOR. Now, keep in mind, I've tried to condense this as much as I can and still give you all, some decent video to watch, but it's going to be kind of boring for some of you because it's just us creeping through the woods. That's what the whole point was. Unlike what I'm about to show you, it took us well over an hour to leave our camp and actually get in a position where we were going to engage these guys at. And it wasn't that far as the crow flies. It was just the route we had to take to remain hidden, terrain features, and going slow and quietly. It's an extremely good test of your gear and what you think you're going to wear and use versus what you actually will end up wearing and using. I've already touched on some of those related points in previous videos, okay? So at the very end of this, I'll show I'm going to fill in some of the still pictures from some of the things we did. And you can see those. In the description box down below, I'm going to put a link to Brushbeater's blog and his write-up and everything on the class. Go check that out. Excuse me. I believe it'll be up on American Partisan as well. As soon as that happens, I'll put that link in the description. I'm going to share this on my blog and also on Facebook pages. On the blog and the Facebook pages, just in case any of you are still interested, I will have the links up to everything I use to build this gun from Palmetto State Army and Primary Arms, and you can click on them And by clicking on them, yes, it does help me out and support me and the channel. The proof's in the pudding though, guys. Stuff I'm trying to tell you works. And the validation is always good. So closing this out and let y'all see what you probably want to see, because I've talked forever now. But like I said, anything worth saying is worth taking a long time to say. The class was excellent. Now, there's multiple things that make for a great class. Number one, the instructor. If you don't have a good instructor, class probably ain't going to be that good. NC Scout's a personal friend of mine. I know him. He's like a brother to me. So maybe I'm biased. I hope it won't come across that way, but he is an excellent instructor. Everything he does in this class is with a point and a purpose. There's a reason behind it, and it's based on his real-world experiences, altered and tailored for our specific potential situations. I can't say enough good things about him. The second thing that makes for a good class is the students. I can say hands down everybody in this class was great. I never felt uncomfortable. Like I said, I've done a lot of classes over the years with a lot of people. Everyone in this class was very safety conscious. They were eager to learn. They were motivated. Everybody was getting into it and giving everything they had. It was a real refreshing feeling to see how everybody was able to gel as quickly as we were. And most of us, it was our first time, meeting each other, except for, me and my son. Now, some of the guys were prior students of Matt's, but it was all of our individual first times working together. So that's a good testament to the students in the class. So any of you guys that are watching this, I appreciate that, and it means a lot. Final thing is, it validated again, now that my younger son has done this one with me and getting some time under his belt, with a little bit more fine-tuning. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I feel very confident in the capabilities that just me and my son could pull off together as a team. Compared to, say, the rest of the population. I'll leave it at that. Here's what you guys were looking for. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Again, I know this was long. Sorry, there's just no way to get around it without giving you the good stuff and it not be long. So, here's the video. Throw up some pictures after that. As always, guys, stay safe. Get prepared. Get trained by good instructors on applicable training to what our situation will dictate. All right? I'll see you in another one.
Yeah, I geeked out on that.
So we were practicing drills while we're still talking. We'd be shooting the target over there and trying to do, you could coordinate fire too and do two different shots. Like you take the truck on the right, I got one on the left, back
One,
there, clear,
2,
and
3.
there we go. That's 2 trucks eliminated at one time.
Whoa.
I didn't see the shot. I didn't see the shot.
One of you is down.
What'd he say?
One of us is down.
All right. That'd be you.
I'll go down.
Go ahead and stay down.
I'm down.
Trying to see anything?
Felt like it was coming from the middle.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm suspecting too. suppress it fire. I hear movement to the right. Alright, I'm down, Sean. It's just you.
Man down. I do not see them, so I can.
eyes on that kind of open field to your 10:30, 11. Just check up there. Man, do you want me to make a pass as a road sentry right at the tree line, see my hearing?
Nah, negative.
Roger that.
Unlocked.
Fang, this is Bear Dan, over. Have you got eyes on yet? Over. Roger. Make sure you get me a good salute report. Need positive identification on these guys, over. Roger. Fang, this is Bear Dan. Go ahead, over. Roger. Salute. Standing by. Fangs, Bear Dan. Good copy. You are cleared hot. You are cleared hot to engage when you have a shot, over. Showtime, showtime, showtime. 2 op 4 down. Number 3, man, you're down. Third man down. Fang, fang, fang. This is bear down over. Give me a sit rep over. Roger. Prepare for extraction over. Alright, op 4, prepare for extraction.